Traumatic injuries. Considered by some to be the most difficult things to treat because depending on whether it's internal or external, you may or may not know the severity of the injury. So the best thing to do is look for those signs or symptoms or look at those case studies to find out how they treated it in the past. And I can't think of a better case study than the amazing shows that we've been reviewing lately. So let's look at how 911 treats some of their traumatic injuries.
Here, these people are gonna help you, okay?
Oh, they got a compound fracture, more outside than in.
A compound fracture, more outside than in. I've never heard that before, but I would imagine what he means is that he measured the arm. And inside of the body was 3 inches of good bone, but outside of the body was 12 inches of not so good bone. Therefore, compound fracture, more outside than in. Woo!
Cut it from the pins that are here. Then we weld these points here, here, and here, and you got it.
Damn good splint. All right, we're gonna need a stick welder.
Did he just say go get a stick welder? Ma'am, we're gonna get you out of there in 2 to 3 hours once that stick welder arrives. And once it gets here, we're probably gonna give you 2nd and 3rd degree burns all over your body from the welding sparks and probably also blindness from the welder's flash. But once we get you to the hospital, they're gonna save what's left of that arm. He really nailed it. Oh, wow, that's a lot of blood.
I think I'm making a hole in his heart bigger.
They'll fix it at the hospital, but only if he's not dead.
I think if you're making the hole bigger and letting all the blood out, they can't exactly fix that at the hospital. That's why, normally when it comes to treating trauma victims, we have 2 steps. Number 1, control bleeding. Number 2, everything else.
Buddy, come on, you're not leaving your daughter hanging like that.
We got a pulse.
Of course.
And I just lost my appetite.
Yeah, that's a statement you'll never hear from a firefighter or anyone in the EMS field. I could literally be covered in feces from head to toe, walk into a room and still go, hey, you guys want to grab some brownies?
Buddy. Ah! Wow. Ah! All right, it's clear.
Cap, I'm feeling something here. We got to turn him.
How's his spine?
Lower extremities appear to be moving.
Upper extremities too. Collar.
Let's pause for a second and go over something called mechanism of injury. Mechanism of injury essentially tells us in the assessment process what happened to this victim leading up to this point and really points us in a good direction of how we should be touching, moving, manipulating that person. So in this case, if we do some simple mechanism of injury math, a 4,000-pound track loader plus a 190-pound soft dad bod equals no pulley, no moving.
Oh, I'm pretty sure all of this is supposed to be on the inside of his body.
Top 10 things you should never say if a patient's conscious.
Bats, this is Captain 118. We have a male, 30s, partially eviscerated. His internal organs have been pushed through a fist-sized hole in the lower right posterior quadrant of his torso. Activate massive hemorrhage protocol and have a surgeon standing by.
Yeah, I already know how dispatch would respond to that. Does anyone know what massive hemorrhage protocol is? Well, I hope that helped expand your knowledge on how to treat and assess trauma victims. And if you only take one thing away from this, just remember, if you can't fix it in the back of the truck, drive faster.